it's too much fun. I'm gonna go for Newbee.
All right, gentlemen, sounds great. We'll see how it goes down. TI4 versus TI5. Let's see how it breaks apart. It's going to be game number 1 in our casters for this one. Capitalist and Blitz.
That's right, as Cobble Guy alluded to, the international, the biggest prize that all the Dota teams search for, has yet to be won twice by any team or any player. In this series, this is really where the race, the first to 2, if you will, begins. Evil Geniuses facing up against Newbee, TI5 winners versus TI4, and even a TI2 winner in the face of Chuan match up against each other to keep their hopes alive in the winner's bracket. Despite such a storied history between these two teams, their exact strength and weaknesses in the bracket remain a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, especially since both teams haven't really played a lot coming into this. We saw EG a little bit at Star Ladder. Newbee's been almost a complete mystery. It's kind of hard to judge just based on the group play alone. Newbee looked kind of mediocre, but a lot of teams said that they were strong coming into this event. EG was kind of the opposite, where based off of Star Ladder, you could say that they looked a little bit shaky and they just haven't had a lot of time to gel, but since the group stages, this team has looked like a well-oiled machine.
So which version of these two teams will we see? Will we see the Newbee that was dominating and being top 3 in every single one of the premier tournaments going into TI? Or will we see the Evil Geniuses that has risen up going into the group stage and has managed to get themselves into the winner's bracket? Now, we're going to start things off. Evil Geniuses heading up to that top side, trying to secure Sumail. An easy banner rune. Newbee will control bottom. Looks like there's not going to be too much of a contest here. Our lanes should be fairly normal, right? Zai's going to be backing up Sumail, I presume, in the mid lane, trying to get that Storm Spirit the biggest jump possible. That's what you referred to earlier, right? In the previous series, how Draw Ranger matched with the Storm Spirit is what allows him to have a good laning phase. You need to be able to have that extra bit of help for a Storm.
Yeah, especially since Storm relies heavily on getting those first 3 items as fast as possible. Just the Bloodstone alone on this hero doesn't really make him threatening. It's really just the potential to zip across the map, pick somebody off with the Orchid, then just immediately get out. Getting that second defensive item post-Bloodstone is going to be really important in this game, especially if he's going to have any chance at surviving against these heroes. I'd imagine a BKB or a Linken's is going to be what he goes for third. Even something like a Shiva's could really help him greatly against both the Slider and the Elder Titan.
Now, Zai had the idea here to be up in the top lane and stack up to the Batrider, that off-lane camp. Unfortunately, to his dismay, he's going to discover that that one has just been blocked out by Chuan's onboard laid out. So, no easy farm for Universe to be able to recover from. Meanwhile, Newbee are actually running a much more active off-lane of their own with KC and Kaka facing up against Fear and PPD, matching a 2 versus 2.
Right now, it doesn't really look like Fear is going to get too much out of this lane. Both the Elder Titan and the Slardar are such strong laners, especially in the early phase. PPD should just pull, try to get levels, sort of abandoning trying to trade hits with these 2 heroes. They're not really going to take that much damage, and up at top, Zai kind of secured Universe's farm a little bit, trying to take advantage of the fact that Shadow Demon and Slark in the early phases aren't too strong.
Once again, Chuan, stymieing the plans of Evil Geniuses, manages to stop the pull over. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Kaka beginning to get a TP. Zai has come in, it will be tethered up with Fear to give him that extra bit of movement speed. The stun goes out, doesn't hit KP as well. The stun by Kaka, is that going to be enough to be able to get him away? Stuns him all up, another right click comes out from PPD. Looks like Fear is going to have to throw out the Storm Hammer. 1 more second, he's got the mana now. Kaka goes for the deny on Roshan, but they're both stunned together. And Fear will bleed Kaka to death for the first blood.
That was the best possible scenario, as Roshan couldn't deny him as he was stunned up as well. Roshi even going to deny that range creep, and a very decent start for EG.
Absolutely. If you look at mid, Sumail doing quite well himself, 12-1, though he is out of mana now. Do have the courier funneling in the dump bottles, though. So we're going to see Sumail go right back up to full HP and full mana.
And this should be a relatively free matchup for Storm, as thrives against these melee heroes that can't really contest him or have kill potential against them. We're seeing that already as quite early 15 CS at just 2 minutes into the game, as Mood's struggling to break double digits right now.
Now, the Elder Titan, he had some impact in the bottom lane, but it also meant that he fed away first blood. The Storm Spirit's getting so much space in the mid lane. Is this where we start thinking about Newbee perhaps rotating both the Shadow Demon and the Elder Titan to try and gank up that Storm Spirit, or is that just a little bit too much out of the realm of possibility?
I don't think you have to do that quite yet, because the good thing about DK is Storm has quite a hard time killing him once you get a few levels of that Dragon's Blood, which he already has 2 of. High armor heroes are something that Storm really dislikes. And I think Sumail's the type of player anyways that will try to prioritize farm in a game like this, because he should rightly believe that he's the best late game hero in this game.
In which case, probably better to try and secure House farm, as he doesn't want to be left alone against a Batrider, at least not until he has his level 6. So Kaka will remain in the bottom lane with KP, trying to ensure this Slardar has a good start. This is pretty much Newbee through and through. They want to be able to enable KP to have an early blink dagger on most of his off-lane heroes and get his initiation in early.
Yeah, the Slardar is going to be huge to counter the Storm. Like Winter talked about on our panel, it's one of the best ways to deal with that Storm Spirit, but if Storm just gets a little bit of farm, he get his Bloodstone timing at a decent time, especially if so that before the Slardar picks up Blink Dagger, he might just always have enough to survive, even with the SD disruption.
Universe has been trying to bully Hao back as much as possible. He go past the tier 1 tower, as we saw him TP back for his Tranquil boost, so he is off to a damn good start. A lot of that being helped out by Zai's Wit. He's now going to be looking towards the mid lane. Both these heroes about to pick up their level 6. This is where potential kills could happen. Both these heroes are still rather tanky. Dragon Knight, of course, has that heavy amount of armor, and Sumail, he's got that zip zap. I don't really think they have the strong enough support to really burst down a Storm Spirit off the Dragon Knight Dragon Tail.
They might, but at the same time, it's going to be a pretty heavy investment. They are making their way forward, trying to get Sumail before he hits level 6, but they might not be successful in that. And on top of that, Sumail already has a Magic Wand, one of the best investments to make defensively on a Storm, and he's going to pick up an Infused Raindrop on the way. So that should make it nearly impossible. They are making the move forward.
They're going to put it to the test. Not
even that stick yet.
Just a little poke there, but not quite the follow-up in time from the supports. They may try again when Mu completes his level 6, but for now, they will head back up to the top lane. They also have to consider that not only all those defensive items you were talking about, Magic Wand, they even have Zai ready to go at any point with the tether model. So taking that attempted play at mid may turn against them quickly.
Yeah, they just wanted to try to get aggressive before Storm hit level 6. They were going to try to lead that into some tower damage early on mid. That's the best advantage of having a Dragon Knight in this matchup, is that then each you have to rotate maybe one of the two. You have to deal with that, then you free up this bottom lane. But as a result, Mu gets denied. Sumail is just going to continue to free farm. He's almost he has at under 6 minutes. Unbelievable for any mid hero, much less a Storm.
So he seems to be not phased at all by that Breathe Fire damage reduction, as the extra hits from Overload, granting him easy CS opportunities. Does this mean, do you think Evil Geniuses, they're getting the best out of the laning phase? Are you still okay with Newbee still protecting Hao and not trying to put too much pressure on him?
I think they have to protect Hao because his early game is going to really determine how much real estate they can get.
Yeah.
Because the way that it works right now is that Newbee, they have to take care of this dire jungle, and they need a hero that can kind of roam around the top area, which is going to be your Slark, to deny a lot of this Storm's farm.
Bit of pressure on Mu. They're going to be a whole lot more pressure soon as PPD is going to wrap around with the rest of the supports coming in, as well as Universe. Mu is going to be the target here, but already the defensive supports of Newbee are going to respond to that PPD. They manage to latch on that Universe with the pounce. He'll be the first one down. The rest of Evil Geniuses retreat. In fact, they may even lose PPD. Looks like KP has his sights on the Winter Wyvern. Already has the amp damage on him. No escape for PPD. That'll be a second kill going their way unless Spear can somehow stop it, but he realizes there is no way. And KP pops the Mako, and Slithering Crush will seal the deal. 1-2 now to the favor of Newbee.
KP already has 1,500 gold at 7 short minutes into this game. He's had quite a successful offlane as a result of having Kaka pretty much camp this area for him. Them contesting this Sven plus Winter Wyvern, but
I mean, it feels like that was almost, in a way, a test from Evil Geniuses, trying to go for a dive on the mid lane, because we've seen, more so than any other team, I would say, Newbee know how to play defensively around those early laning ganks. They always are set up with defensive supports behind their mid, and they usually are going to mass rotate to punish you.
You pointed that out before this game as well, that we are going to see this counter-aggressive play from Newbee. We got a taste of that there, as Universe not having nearly as good of a time as the Slardar is when it comes to his timings. blink for him is going to be pretty delayed as a result of that mid attempt. But again, Sumail is going to be the hero to watch in this game. From a Storm player perspective, this is a very good timing for him right now, and the type of heroes that Newbee has to keep them alive.
Denied! Which means it is going to be all the more critical for KP to finish up that Blink Dagger and get a successful gank on mid, coupled with Dragonite.
The thing about KP though is he's going to have his work cut out for him this game. He's going to almost always have to be the scouting force for this Slark. Cal alone just doesn't deal enough damage, especially with the Winter Wyvern, so he is going to be in a situation where he might pick up that early blink, but he always has to worry about falling behind in relative farm. If you only gank with the Slardar, you just get behind. You don't want to be in a position where at 25 minutes you only have a 4-staff. And Blink Dagger, you want to start working towards those core items and treating yourself like a third core.
Coming forward here, he's going to get a quick surprise initiation on the move, just a small bit of damage, nothing life-threatening, but does force a rotation out of Newbee.
Curious to see what builds Sumail decides to go for. Does have enough money for threats, but there is a lot to be said about going just straight for the Bloodstone this game and grabbing the Arcane boost.
Newbee, 2 supports sitting behind Moo. They have Hao with his level 7, actually level 8, about to be picked up. So they know he's going to be okay there. And KP, his lane is being pushed out. In fact, they're going to try and enable KP even more. An early invasion into the jungle. Classic Dota strategy at this point. I mean, they see PPD picked out, but looks like they are going to be able to get the initiation on him. Blink Dagger picked up by KP. All PPD can do is maybe get the Cold Trace off, but not only that goes down. A 3rd kill going the way of Newbee, and they may be set up to push in that tier 1 tower. Evil Geniuses go pretty quick with the response. They're already pushing in the mid lane and forcing Kaka to defend.
You saw how far Fear was away from that attempt. I think G was kind of aware of that happening, but they were banking on allowing their Winter Wyvern to kind of soak up that gank for them. Newbee don't really transition that into anything, which is probably the bigger part here. Is during that time period, you just had Storm farm, you had Batrider continue to farm, your Sven was getting the jungle as well, and Newbee, all they really get out of it is this level 5 Winter Wyvern who hasn't had a lot of farm, has 628 net worth, they barely get anything out of that gank. Might have not even been really worth their time.
Let's talk about that philosophy a little bit. Our time together, you oftentimes encourage me to completely abandon that lane, don't even leave a support there for levels, while we've seen, some teams do take that philosophy, others are willing to leave a support there and sort of tanks the gank in some way. It basically kind of sets up a situation where the team smoking and evading does get that extra little bit of golden experience. What are your thoughts on it, and what do you think that really means Evil Genius's plans are for this game?
I think for EG, it's simply just, if the gank happens at that south side of the map, then you free up time and space for your Storm, because the Storm is the real hero of this game. If Winter Wyvern dies 10 times, they can still win this game just on the fact that this hero can get huge. Right now he's progressing very nicely, he's already got 1800 gold, this Batrider's not doing too bad either, Sven who's gonna really get ahead. All the pressure is on Newbee right now. EG can play proactively by moving around the map, but they don't have to force engagements, whereas Newbee they have to, because you've got neutral things that EG can just take control of, like this camp right now. That Fear has already stacked 3 times into this game. Storm's just going to keep farming his jungle, so Newbee, every single time they show themselves as 3 and they pop the dragon form, that means you can't really make a move right after that. You're going to have to wait to cooldowns, you're going to have to wait to reset the map, and the Slardar, look at his item build. He just went straight for the Blink Dagger. He's got no Tranquils or anything like that. He's going to struggle pretty heavily, just constantly rotating. I mean, he delivered himself a clarity, but he still only has 500 HP, and AP, he's got his work cut out for him in a game like this.
So that kind of investment in ganking that bottom lane is essentially just a big distraction for Evil Geniuses to get more space. That Dragon Form being popped, the rotation, the smoke being used, it all means that Sumail will feel comfortable pushing aggressively and getting that extra bit of farm. He may even see a rotation through the Dire jungle and starts getting some extra golden experience out of that. Newbee already trying to keep as much damage off that tier 1 mid tower with the early rotation by Kaka. This obviously, that mid tower, pretty important for Dire side, right? It helps you control that Roshan pit, which is a possibility if Evil Geniuses win a good fight. More than likely, though, Newbee should be able to claim them.
I think the interesting part here is that what usually happens with this 10-minute play is you'll almost always see in any competitive game right now, Dire has any sort of pressure mid-hero, they're going to make their way down into this Radiant jungle, get one ward down, maybe even behind the tower, a full commitment of that, and you simply just take down this bottom tower and you just own half of the map. But as a result of probably just being afraid of the storm farming, the Dragon Knight instead makes his rotation to this bottom rune, and I think he just wants to try to shut this down because he knows that Kaka is liable to be dived because he's a level 8 or he's a level 4 Elder Titan.
Yeah. Trying to make sure that Zamail doesn't get the space required. So Newbee obviously then would have equal incentive to try and take down that mid tower. What do you think the game plan coming up in the next 10 minutes is for them?
I think for Newbee, it's continue to get aggressive across the map. What I'd really like to see them do is maybe even make a smoke play for this top lane, try to pick off the universe and transition that into allowing one of the 2 supports on Newbee to get some farm while Slark, once he grabs his Shadowblade, just roams around the map and creates a lot of space. Best thing that Slark does right now in this meta and why he's come back in such force is he just owns such a significant part of the map. There's no way that even a single support is willing to move around the map when you've got a Slark with the Shadowblade, and so they have to clump together, slow down their own timings, and you can't just always sentries.
Right. The investment. We are going to see our on pause finally. 10-minute mark comes through.
Oh, he does make a good bottom, so that's what I was curious about, whether or not he would do this.
Change up on their mind. They will go for that tier 1 tower. Evil Genius is getting plenty out of it though. As we said, Zamail making his way through the jungle, trying to get that extra bit of boost, and same goes with Fear. He cleared through the Ancient stack. Obviously, Universe is having a decent time as well, trying to complete that run. So all 3 cores of Evil Geniuses are getting something out of this pressure from Newbee at the bottom lane, and the tier 1 tower isn't even going to fall immediately. They seem a bit scared. So many heroes of Evil Geniuses off map.
Yeah, but Newbee should just assume that there's a lot of farming going around. And if you look at EG's commitment to farm, you notice that Sumail's gone for the Arcane Boost build, which has kind of seen a resurgence, or it was always
There's the dive on Taylor. The level 5 Elder Titan isn't much to Zamail, but with the extra TPs, they will be up. And now the stun comes in from KP. They're going to go straight for Zai. He's got to relocate. He's not going to be fast enough. He goes down, and now instant stun of Zamail. Do they have the damage? No, not quite. The Slithering Crush. Half a second too late. KP had to be spamming that one out, but relying on cooldowns, they will not be able to get the big 4 of Evil Geniuses.
Very well done by Newbee though. They are utilizing the Cloak Dagger on this Slardar very well to the kind of engagement that they need, but if you just look at the passive gold going on right now, EG still ahead on their 2 cores.
Yeah, you can say that that mid setup where they're able to kill the Wisp, yeah, they save the Elder Titan, but it cost them their tier 1 tower at bottom lane that they were pushing earlier. PPD did manage to get the deny on that, so that is obviously gold exchange-wise not really going to be real good for Newbee. AP trying to set up again on the mid lane, but they can get another pick. When are we going to look towards Roshan in that Aegis?
I think even more important than the Roshan is for Newbee to try to control this ancient area. If they control this ancient area right now, I'd say that the pace of the game right now for them is very good, and they're satisfied, but as a result of this kind of going uncontested, it doesn't matter if EG lose 1 support hero at the cost of Sven just farming 3 ancient stacks and just going farming out the jungle. He did 2 cores distributing farm very well.
Well, surely things are about to amp up as Newbee are completing that Shadowblade, playing it out to How now. Yep. And they're going to go for a 4-man smoke, actually meeting How's lane. They're going to go
we just talked about this
stack.
They have to control this area.
Unfortunately, they won't be able to actually catch anyone farming that stack. They will be able to block it away. That was moved.
It should transition though. This top tower is worth it for them to go for in full force. But instead, they're going to go all the way around, it looks like. Don't want to get caught out. Control this ancient area. They got 2 wards down in this section. Now they're going to know when the stack happens.
Evil Geniuses, they kind of had 2 choices there. They could have actually pressured that mid-tier 1 tower or try and contest top lane. This 4-man smoke looks like they didn't quite fully know that Newbee was going to go for the tower, and they decided against contesting and just start setting up for the tier 1 lane, thinking that it's the higher objective.
Yeah. For EG, I think getting into team fights early on, unless you can start out with a numbers advantage, is going to be difficult. And you don't really want to pull down the tower.
2-man Slithering Crush, that's going to set up Hal. He'll be able to get the pound. Oh no! He got bounced back with the blade
break into the pouch because of it, and now we'll be able to get the immediate damage on the gear, so instead of current PPD, we'll be able to pop him out. Sumail goes to the back, running out of mana on. He's getting low, will be able to take that last long jump into the river, but now he's right there with the amplified damage, and they don't even need a slithering crush there. They'll get a second one too, perhaps. It's the tether away, but he wants this pursuit. And get another two-man slithering crush. Zai with the amplified damage is fresh meat for Newbee, and they're going to claim the Batrider's leg as well. 4 down from Evil Geniuses, and Newbee will push mid.
That was so well done by Newbee as they set that fight up perfectly. They had all the time in the world to flank from every single angle. Sumail just going a bit too hard for that Shadow Demon right there. He just did not have the damage with his build. And I was just about to say, they want to try to avoid fights when your Storm is so close to his Bloodstone. But instead, they're just going to lose so many heroes on the back of that. On top of that, now they're in 2 sectors slowed down.
The initiations from KP is really what set all that up. That 2-man slithering crush. The missed pounce was unfortunate for Newbee, but it didn't cost them much. Sumail, he committed towards that backline, didn't have the mana to get it all the way across the river, and got stuck inside. Evil Geniuses looked like a game plan that was sort of cobbled together last second as Newbee find a successful initiation.
Yeah, they're going to go back for this mid tower. They still have a lot of these ultimates up. The Winner's Curse is available to them, but they've got to be careful. They can't take 2 consecutive another consecutive fight like that, because Sumail, again, closing in on that Bloodstone. I think you want to wait for it, but they're going to smoke, try to secure this mid tower, and they've got to be careful for this one. Newbee, I think they're itching to fight, got all their spells available to them.
Maybe Evil Geniuses think they're going to catch Newbee off guard. This aggressive play, 3 Bloodstone
all the way around. Newbee are pretty grouped up. Here comes the full-on sandwich. They are going to get a 2-man stronghold coming out from Peter with the clean. They'll take out Wolf. Universe controlled up by the Golden Praise will be able to save his life. Long enough to be able to get the last out now with Boo. Getting some extra damage on the How, trying to stay ahead of him. How gets out, but 3 down for Newbee, make it 4. KP caught by a Stormbolt. And now it's Evil Geniuses' turn to reap the reward.
Unbelievable read by Aegis. Fear just assaults the support duo from Newbee. They weren't able to get a single spell off. If they were able to slow him with the Demonic Purge, disrupt themselves, maybe they would have been able to win that fight. I think Newbee was favored, but that was the perfect engagement from EG. They immediately take out the 2 supports. You can't write it better than that, as now Sumail gonna pick up that Bloodstone, and EG are gonna reset into a very good position.
I mean, if you look at the initiation of Evil Geniuses, the Storm Spirit, Batrider, Winter Wyvern, all these heroes are excellent at being able to set up team fights for success. But Newbee's biggest strength is these very disruptive, defensive style supports in both the Shadow Demon and Elder Titan. Both of them have a way to kind of stall up your aggression, to put a pause on the game while that disruption or that stop buys time and resets the fight for Newbee. But when you're able to assault that back line like Fear did, take out both supports as he said before they cast a single spell. Fight looks rather easy for Evil Geniuses now. Set up for another team fight. 5-9, 17 minutes in. Evil Genius.
Here has the Blink Dagger. Newbee's got to be careful, but I think that was pretty unbelievable. It looked like both the Newbee supports weren't sure where the Stonebolt was going to go, so they both froze. They stood right next to each other. They can't afford to do that, and I think they're going to prioritize the safety of them now, as Blue is going to frontline for them with that armor. Very hard to take down, but EG, they've got the Blink Dagger on this man, and they want to utilize it.
Newbee gonna make it as hard as possible for Evil Geniuses to find a successful initiation. Look at their positioning. Hard right side of the map, sitting inside the trees. Still not too grouped up where Stormbolt could catch multiple heroes. So Evil Geniuses, they're going to have their work cut out for them in order to get the initiation needed, and that's why they're actually going to back out. And this is actually fully tipped off by Newbee. Great scan. We'll see the retreat of Evil Geniuses and their rotation through the jungle and towards mid and top.
And EG didn't get really anything out of that. They cleared out their jungle, so if Newbee decided to make an aggressive move, find anything.
Double damage!
Everybody from EG should make a full-on retreat. Should just continue to farm up these 2 camps as well on the 2 cores. Sumail can start establishing himself up in this camp as well. Newbee just want to continue to get aggressive with this Blink Dagger on the Slardart. Talked about how this hero, he might just turn into a fighter, not get enough farm, and slowly start to get behind, and trying to see that here.
Beating. Reaching that point.
Right initiation could turn this game for them. It's actually going to be the Beer who finds the first stun out. KP responsive for it. So they're runs down. Kaka going to be saved at the moment by Quad. An interruption will only buy a moment's respite though. And now it's going to be Geniuses running over Newbee one by one. KP, he's going to be next target while Universe pulling back through. KP, he'll definitely die. Beer with God Strength cleans him up. And PPD manages to survive against Howe's assault. Tried to go for the back line just like Beer did, but wasn't nearly as successful.
I mean, this game plan from EG to consistently just go for the supports, pick up these free Bloodstone charges on Sumail, this is really what's going to enable them to scale, and I mean, the crowd senses it right now. EG is playing so well around their two cores.
Newbee gonna have to go back to just farming away. As Moo pushing out that bottom lane, How going to take his part in top lane. Moo's got 2,100 gold here. He already has the armlet. What is the next item for him? Does he need more defensive style BK?
Might even think of picking up a Blue Dagger of his own just because they lack some initiation right now on Newbee. I think Newbee is a team that desperately needs to start playing aggressively. That's 2 fights in a row now where just been found out very quickly, and he does go for the Blink Dagger like we noticed.
Oh.
Yeah. AP though, like 270 gold right now in a position where he had something like a 9-minute Blink Dagger. This is not the kind of progression that you need to see, especially against a Storm who's scaling so fast.
They need a successful fight, or at least a pickup.
They need one fight into a Roshan right now for Newbee to get back into this game comfortably.
Geniuses keeping themselves pretty well spread, feeling comfortable with their rate of farm so far. Yes, Arcelark is top of the net worth 4, but not by much. Both the Sven and the Storm Spirit are just barely trailing. Looks like Newbee are going to find that initiation. Somebody uses this first. They don't quite have the burst damage, though. Dive will come in with the Feather. Save the one. AP is going to be jumped on by Sumail. Easily taken out. Beer turns, finds out Moo. Out coming in for the side, but once again, he's being distracted by PPD. And PPD shoots him right out. Now has to go. Your Beer is dead beside. He's causing problems. He's healing up Beer, and Beer out of mana now. How's not going to be able to make it away from this one? Fight right back, and Dodge survives. Quad down as well. Newbee lose 4, and it's Evil Geniuses who will take the Roshan.
I guess that answers how good EG is. 3 fights in a row now as they go for the relocate. They want the finish. They don't want Roshan. They're going to take all 5. That's the wipe. Another Titan down. Newbee goes straight for the tier 1. They keep up the pace. They don't let Newbee have anything extra. And now the Blink Daggers start swarming in. Universe, he picks up his own. Let's see that one again. They tried to jump on Universe, but the burst damage just wasn't quite there. And Sumail's initiation was so much stronger than the full force of Newbee. That was so well done by both of EG supports, constantly kiting PPD alone. How occupied for so long, they were able to just isolate targets out. You notice that Sumail instantly jumps to that Smart Art, getting rid of that counter initiation. And EG played this fight so well, they were so self-aware of where all their teammates were at all times. Newbee, they cannot afford to take fights like that. That's a 20 Bloodstone charge Storm now. Almost has that Orchid, and he's going to render 3 of these heroes on Newbee's side completely useless.
Newbee gotta be feeling a bit desperate now and unsure how to approach this. They keep on trying to get the right fights, and they find what seems to be a pretty good initiation each time, but seems to turn against Evil Geniuses as they just seem to have the right response in the form of both Sumail and PPD, the defensive and offensive side.
I don't even know who you call the MVP so far in EG. All of their forwards have been playing really well. The 2 supports occupied Newbee's cores for such a long period of time. Newbee just unable to chain together spells as a result of the Storm Spirit, who's creating so much chaos in these fights. Sonic Blast are just trying to keep up, seeing what they can do, but around the map is a little bit too fast for them right now. As EG gonna go for smoke again. They want to go for team fight number 4. Maybe they can even get a Roshan of themselves, which on the Storm Spirit would make him pretty much untouchable.
Yeah, this Orchid. This could be big. 20 Bloodstone charges. This could be my little moment. They're going to be able to line move, pull him back. KP couldn't get the stop. The slithering crutch, not there. Neville jump in from Sumail. Grabs Kafka. No defensive support play there. He gets stunned up, but Sumail is going to receive some help from Zai. Starts zipping around. Sumail's going to be fine. The cold embrace buys him a little bit of healing time, and How has to run himself away. But Sumail picks up his jump forward. He's going to get healed and saved. Nice Winter's Curse out. Sumail was a bit too far forward. Now they're going to be able to get the Orchid out. How
dead, unable to be saved by anybody from Newbee. Well, they're gonna go man the man. He just keeps on running in. The regeneration. He has so much mana to work with. He just doesn't stop.
This is how you play a Storm Spirit. Sumail's just giving a masterclass to the other two players so far in this main stage who have failed with it. This is the hero that made his name famous. He is doing it proud right now. Level 16 Storm, 23 Bloodstone charges. Like, this guy's pretty much unstoppable.
And he's already got 2k gold in the bank. He'll have that third item. You were really pumping that up. The third item for Storm Spirit is really where he truly comes online.
He's already kind of come online, and with the third item, Shiva's, Lincoln's, both of them have merit. He's going to go for either the Hex or the Lincolns for himself. If he goes for the Lincolns, I think Newbee has almost no hope of stopping this guy.
I mean, look at Newbee's items. They went for Echo Saber on the Slark. They went the Blink Dagger on the Dragonite. Slardar still has no progression past the Blink Dagger that he picked up rather early on in the game. These heroes committed pretty heavily towards being able to contest and even win Evil Geniuses in that 20-minute, 15, 20-minute area. And it didn't work out for them, and now they're just not going to see the kind of mid to late game progression that they had ideally.
And EG allowing Newbee to filter into them. They know that Newbee is not going right now. Everything that Newbee has done so far in terms of their build has itemized for the mid game. KP at one point had 200 gold about 5 minutes ago, now has 500, and they're in a position where they're just forced to smoke right now. They don't have a lot of options. They might even decide to go for the Roshan, but in that pit is waiting. There's a heartbeat there, but instead they're going to try to get aggressive. EG on the opposite side of the map, reading this movement perfectly, and Newbee's going to get denied once again.
Smoke not going to last long enough for them to be able to make the long journey up the top lane. Get close, and how might be able to scout them out with the Shadow Blade, but it seems like Evil Genius is going to stay pretty tight-knit here. Excluding Universe will trail a bit farther behind.
Fortunately, when you play Storm is usually when there are two farm supports that you can't really do anything about. Cover for each other, but
Now this is where they can do Sabu all by himself up the top rune. Godlike Sumail.
Yeah, they cannot right now. Newbee, they're gonna go full retreat mode. This EG gonna filter in.
Jump forward, Sumail looking for more.
Kinda low on mana though, he's gotta be careful. They're just gonna passively push out the top lane and dare Newbee to fight them. Newbee just getting further and further behind it. They've gotta split up the map.
Pierce's tower will be taken by Evil Geniuses, and this will help Sumail finish up his third item, which will be the Link to stop the Dragon Tail of the Dragon Knight, who kind of all in committed with that Blink Dagger to try and shut out the Storm Spirit as best as possible. A rapid rotation though, the long jump from Sumail, finds Swan, a perfect kickoff with that Orchid, makes it look too damn easy for Evil Geniuses.
No support can survive anymore. He can just make those random jumps, find heroes around the map, play this style against the Storm, who farmed anyways. 25 Bloodstone charges. He just continues to rack him up. Even if he dies, he'll almost instantly be back in the fight, and I can even bring him back. Just gonna take all these outer towers, and it's not even like EG have a standard push on it, it's just that they're so much stronger. New PST, no item progression on any of their cores. Slardar, he'd be lucky to get something like a 35-minute 4-step at this point.
These Geniuses, while they may be playing aggressive, they're not giving any openings to Newbee. Reloading came forward, he's going to bring Sai back into this fight, where they get the tier 2. Universe already scouting out that Newbee are not going to contest this tier 2. Newbee pretty much have to hole up inside their base, it seems, as they really can't take a straight 5-on-5.
Problem for them, though, again, is their itemization is to the fact that they kind of just have to go for these fights. It's not like their swords scale ultra well later into the game. Either of them can do anything against the Storm Spirit. KP doesn't have the items to contest anymore. Problem is, there was a point where you could drop everything on Sumail and you could probably take him down and maybe you could fight the rest of the heroes. But now this is a Storm Spirit with 2000 HP, 17 armor, and a Lincolns. There is almost no chance that Newbee take him out, even if they isolate him one-on-one.
Damage!
Slark that would normally want to go Scotty, forced into an Amanta-style position. doesn't want to be caught out by that Orchid without Dark Pact already running in. So the ward going to be laid down. They are going to make the
Long shot. They already got Kaka. It's going to be safe, but it's disrupted, but instead they'll take KP, trying to leave Kaka for slightly later. Moo going to be chased away by Universe, and Swan will be the third pickup. Triple kill. Samael once more, running low on mana with the help of Fear. He can do it all the way into the Tier 3 tower. Armlet toggling, Moo desperate to be able to get out of here, but not the case. An ultra kill for Samael as he falls out of control.
Al simply can't do anything against EG. They're definitely going to chase this hero. They want a 5-man wipe. Now he's going to go for the TP. Sumail doesn't have anything left to tank, but EG, with so many team fights, one in a row, not a lot of hope for Newbee.
Tier 2 being assaulted, the last one of its kind for Newbee. And next stop, Evil Geniuses. And Aegis in their hands, they go high ground, tell us it's great.
You could even see Evil Geniuses perhaps go high ground without it. They are in such a dominant position at this point.
EG, out of all the teams remaining, they look like they're going to be the closest to maybe repeating this TI champs. They look so on point right now. They're going to move into this Roche pit. Newbee, again, they probably just have to face check into this to stop it.
That gold lead only growing bigger and bigger. Newbee are not going to go for Roche on it seems. Start pushing their way out into the dire jungle. Maybe they're not aware that it's Roche on time. Maybe they just don't think they can contest. Will opt to try and farm up what little they can in the meantime.
Everybody right now keep running around this five. They can't really afford to show themselves as individual heroes to push out lanes because of the storm. Now almost has this Bloodthorn available to him. Solo pickoff potential for him is so huge, and at some point, Newbee, they've got to come back and they've got to defend this. There's no opportunity for them to go for a split push as Gather Demon. That's the top reason, but he doesn't want to get too close. Both support from Newbee. They've got to be careful.
These are hard up battle, but there is no distance that the Samael will not go to pick a support off. He managed to grab Swan's Shadow Demon while Fear takes the Tier 3 tower. There it is, Fear.
They're going to call it pretty early, 25-9.
A Bloodthorn to finish things off. Samael with 30 plus stone charges. The Storm Spirit is truly back in the meta on Evil Geniuses.
He just went completely unchecked, and out of all the teams that have run him so far in this tournament, he has made him look unbelievable.
Absolutely an electric performance by Samael and the rest of Evil Geniuses. They look to simply outclass Newbee in this game number 1. Newbee going to have to take a hard look at what went wrong.
Number 2, so let's throw it over to our casters now. It's Capitalist and Blitz.
All the panel heavily siding with Evil Geniuses for game number 2. It seems like Newbee going to be